Hey guys, welcome to the Bird's Nest. Please like, comment, and subscribe for all your NFL updates, recaps, news, gossip, and all things Shedeur. Anything Shedeur does, I'm going to report on it. And if he's not doing anything, I'm not going to say anything. But today, Shedeur was named the emergency quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Um, he continues to be treated differently than a fifth round pick while still being treated like a fifth round pick. But in most ways, he is not treated like a fifth round pick. He's getting some level of special treatment. So, before they named him as the emergency quarterback, Shedeur would not be suiting up for games as QB3. Only QB1 and QB2 are allowed to suit up for games. But the emergency quarterback does suit up for games. So the emergency quarterback, that is a concept that apparently was a part of the NFL in the past, and they did away with it, but now they have bought it back. They just bought it back, and the Cleveland Browns decided to utilize it. As you know, they bought on a fourth quarterback. I don't know if that had something to do with it. I did check the rules, and that is not a requirement of designating an emergency quarterback. So, whatever the reason was that they bought that gentleman is probably something. We don't know what it is. We'll see how it shakes out. But right now, if if Joe Flacco and Dylan Gabriel are injured in a game, Shedeur would play. Are not just injured. They could also be disqualified, like Shiloh was. They could be ejected. That's probably not going to happen. But, hey, Flacco's arthritis could start acting up. Dylan's little teeny tiny self could take a bad hit. And just like that, you have no quarterbacks. And so it makes sense because QB1 is 40 and QB2 is a small rookie. It makes sense for them to have an emergency quarterback. And so that's what Shedeur has been designated as. If both of them go down, he goes in and he's ready to go in. He doesn't have to. I don't even know how it will work if he wasn't designated the emergency quarterback and he was in plain clothes and they both went down. I don't know how that would work. Would he run to the locker room real quick and put a uniform on? I don't know. Probably. So that's what it is. I don't want to read too much into them bringing another quarterback. I know it has nothing to do with Shedeur. Look, they have said multiple times that Shedeur and Dylan are going to play. So I believe that. But if anybody balls out, my guess is, let's say even if Flacco balls out, I don't think it would stop those two. Anybody else. But if Flacco balls out, which there's no evidence that there's even a chance that will happen. Flacco has not balled out in years, long term. So my prediction is that Flacco will be out no later than 6 games and possibly earlier than that. It's possible that during the gauntlet, they could put Dylan in. We'll see. And then Dylan will get a certain number of games, but if Dylan gets out there and balls out, they might say, okay, we found our QB1 without even looking at Shedeur. And maybe Shedeur will get to play some games later in the season just so that he can get some film so they could trade him. Otherwise, I believe that Dylan will get some set number of games. This is just a guess. I have no idea. Some set number of games, and Shedeur will get some set number of games. Maybe they'll have the same number of games. Maybe Dylan will have a few more games because he was drafted higher. Um, but we'll see. But for now, Shedeur will be suiting up for the first game. I don't know if he's going to be designated the emergency quarterback for every game, but he is designated for the first game. And so he will be in uniform instead of being on the sidelines in plain clothes. So I just wanted to come on and report that. Nothing long. It's not a lot going on. And so that's that on that. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about the other quarterback that they bought in? He's just, a guy you pick up off the street like Huntley, a backup. He has no trade value. But what do you think about them bringing on another quarterback? And what do you think about them making Shedeur the emergency quarterback? I mean, it just makes sense, right? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Y'all have a good rest of your day. And again, hit that subscribe button. And so you can, I'm going to keep you up with the news. Now, let me just add this little piece on. So I have, I search Shedeur's name every day, multiple times a day. And I just got tired of that Cleveland media being in my search results. So I started muting them. As they come up on my timeline going forward, I will mute them until Shedeur plays because they mainly don't speak highly of Shedeur. I heard one today that's what got me to start. Let me start muting them because, I don't want them disturbing my peace. One of them who, Tony Grossi and Rizzo, whose first name I can't think of right now. I think his name is Rizzo. They play good cop, bad cop when it comes to Shedeur. So Tony Grossi really dislikes Shedeur. That's how he acts. It's an act. It's not real. He doesn't know Shedeur. And Shedeur is a really sweet kid. So people that have actual interaction with him, how could you dislike him? He's so sweet. Anyway, so Tony Grossi plays the bad cop and he hates Shedeur and he says all kind of hateful things about him. And then Rizzo is the good cop who allegedly believes in Shedeur. And so they were fake arguing on the news today, yelling and just cutting a fool on the radio, rather. And Grossi asked Rizzo, when are you going to admit that you were wrong about Shedeur? And Rizzo said, maybe 10 years down the line. Look, both of these guys are backups. And Grossi agreed with him. Now, normally, they fight tooth and nail to say that their guy is fantastic. But they both agreed that they're both backups. That's when I said, time to mute him. I can't have you disturbing my peace. I don't know what Dylan is. I do believe he's a backup. That's what everybody was saying in training camp. They weren't saying that about Shedeur. And I know he's not a backup. People will argue me down about him drifting backwards and holding on to the ball too long and hero ball. Look, guys, he had those problems. And he still balled out. He still got wins. He still looked impressive. So, yes, he needs to work on them. But if he solves those problems, even with those problems, he's not a backup. But if he solves them, boy, oh boy, be on the lookout. Shedeur is not anybody's backup. And him being in a market where his media attacks him daily. I don't need to see any of them. I muted them. I unsubscribed. I didn't unsubscribe from everybody. I did unsubscribe from some on YouTube, but mostly I just turned off the notifications. I don't want to not know Shedeur news. Then I had to turn off a lot of notifications because even content creators that have been following on YouTube, because Shedeur, nothing's happening right now. Shedeur is not playing. There's no news being generated. That's why I go radio silent until the season starts. because there's nothing to talk about. But a lot of the content creators, they're much more popular than me. They may make a living off of YouTube. I don't. Um, and so they need to keep that content coming, and it's watered down. Guys that I generally love their content as it relates to Shedeur throughout training camp in the preseason. Now they're giving us watered down content, useless information, fake clickbait titles, saying that they got some information in their video, and then you listen to the video and it's like they don't even address what's in the title. So I'm not going to be doing that. I'll be quiet. I'm going to do my recaps. One for college, one for NFL. And any news that happens in between. I'll keep my ear to the street. But right now, just now, we got what? One more week. And then we'll have other things to talk about than Shedeur. Shedeur has been the story of the offseason and the preseason for so many media outlets. They still keep using his name for clicks. Even though he's not doing anything. He doesn't even get reps. He's not getting any reps. Dillon Gabriel's barely getting reps. I told you guys that already. Dillon Gabriel is going to barely get, he'll get 2, 3, 5 reps. Maybe. He's not getting that many. 5's too many. 2 reps. Shedeur won't get any. So, there's nothing to report. And I don't really appreciate the content creators and the media outlets and the Cleveland media keep using Shedeur for clicks while he's being mistreated. So, I learned that he was the emergency quarterback from Ian Rappaport. Normal news guy, not a Cleveland guy, not doing the Cleveland guys, talking about Shedeur when there's nothing to talk about. So that's that. Y'all have a good day. Hit the like button. Hook me up. And subscribe. And comment if you want to weigh in. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good day. What's that? Mwah.